Julia, how are businesses faring under the eased restrictions?
Well, Danica, it is very much a double-edged sword for businesses. On one hand, you've got those businesses that are able to open today under stage 1 of the government's eased restrictions for pubs, clubs, cafes and restaurants. Many of them across the state will be opening today for a maximum of 10 patrons, but of course, everyone will have to adhere to those social distancing rules. For some, they might not be able to open during this stage, opting to wait for stage 2 or 3 of the government's eased restrictions. But an interesting one to talk about is the wedding industry. Now, for months of lockdown, we've seen very tight restrictions when it comes to the number of guests allowed at a couple's big day. But today, we are seeing 10 people allowed at weddings. And right now, I'm at a bridal store, Grace Loves Lace, in Burleigh Heads on the Gold Coast. Now, I'm keen to have a chat to Kylie. She's the online stylist here. Now, Kylie, I'll just bring you in for a quick chat. So firstly, I'm quite interested in how your business had been faring during the stage of lockdown.
Obviously, COVID-19 did have an effect on our business, but we're really fortunate that we're an online business. So we've been doing virtual appointments with our brides. We've been doing lots of online styling consultations, and some of our showrooms have still been opened with obviously restrictions and limits. And that's really benefited us throughout this whole situation.
And how will you guys be faring now that we are seeing the eased restrictions with 10 people now allowed at weddings? Do you think that more people are booking in, and do you think you'll see a boost in sales?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a few more brides coming in because our showroom has been open. We had a few brides coming in. They've been a little bit more hesitant, obviously, but between last week and this week already, we're seeing our showrooms filling up beautifully. All the brides are coming in. They're so excited to get going with their weddings, and it's just the one first step in getting going with their weddings is finding the one.
And how will the pandemic, I guess, change the way that you guys do business? I mean, there's a lot of contact between stylists and a bride that comes in. How will you guys work through that?
So we do have some restrictions in place in our showrooms to make sure that everybody's safe. We're practicing social distancing. So up until today in the Gold Coast, we've been limiting how many guests can come with the brides to make sure that we only have a certain amount of people in the space. Before we were doing measuring, we were changing the brides. Now we're getting them to do that themselves with our guidance, and we're just really here for the support to show them the dresses, explain everything through, just so that they can still have that beautiful experience of trying on their dresses.
And a lot of brides have had to postpone their big day, some until next year. Do you think that there will be a sense of optimism returning to the wedding industry?
Certainly. We've had some brides who are still eloping, and they're still having an opportunity to just have that special day with their partners, and it's still a beautiful opportunity for their marriages, but now it's a great chance to have a second dress and have a second celebration, and some of them are really taking advantage of getting 2 special days instead of 1. So we're really trying to keep positive and show them that there are different ways that you can celebrate your wedding.
And speaking to you before, you said that you've seen a book out really in appointments for this weekend. So I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for the chat. But it's not just the wedding industry that is now seeing a boost, all other industries as well. And so we will have to wait and see what this will mean for other businesses down the track in the coming months, particularly as we see our borders potentially reopening in July. We could see some more domestic tourism from New South Wales, from Victoria. We'll have to wait and see how our businesses fare.
Yeah, it's good to see that there is still that positivity in the wedding industry, of course, another big industry that has been hit hard. Julia Bradley, thank you. Meanwhile, a cold and wet start to the weekend hasn't deterred Sydney-siders from making the most of these easing restrictions. Isabella Leenbruggen joins me now live from Bondi Beach. Bella, what have locals been up to this morning?
Well, it has been a bit wet and cold, Danica, as you said, but it hasn't deterred locals from coming out to Bondi Beach this morning and making the most of these eased restrictions we're now seeing across New South Wales. Cafes, of course, have been very popular. People lucky enough to fit inside that 10 patron limit at cafes have been scoring a table, while others have been waiting outside grabbing takeaway, providing a much-needed boost to businesses around here who've really been struggling with COVID restrictions that have been taking place here. We've also seen a number of people exercising, as you can see behind me. We've got groups of people finally getting back together for personal training sessions, as well as a number of people out ocean swimming. Everyone really just soaking up the new restrictions here in New South Wales.
It's like torture. It's really good for the mental health. We're really good friends, and then we all go and have coffee, so I really miss it. And so it's been wonderful to come back.
It's been a little bit hard to sort of, keeping to yourself, not seeing people. It's just nice. Just get out again, socialise.
With our newfound freedom does come a stern warning from the New South Wales Health Minister, Brad Hazzard. He said earlier this morning the virus is still out there and bubbling amongst the community here in New South Wales. We had 3 new cases in the past 24 hours. He wants to remind the community just because we do have these new freedoms that we are getting to experience, still must maintain caution when out and about.
We need to remember that this virus is still amongst us. This virus is still extremely dangerous. We need vigilance, and we need to make sure the sacrifice that we've all endured in the last few months sees positive outcomes going forward.
While we do have that warning, there is a lot of excitement down here in Bondi today, as I mentioned. We've also got playgrounds opening up across the state. And also we've got the ability to now go on picnics, which many people are taking advantage of here in Bondi. The weather isn't deterring many, which is great to see.
Absolutely. It's the little things that people are excited about the most. Bella, thank you. Meanwhile, people in the Northern Territory are enjoying the country's most relaxed restrictions. Live now to Matt Cunningham in Darwin. Matt, the Chief Minister has a message for those in other states, hoping they might soon be able to enjoy some of the Northern Territory's newfound freedom. What's the message?
Well, the message is pretty clear, Danica. He says if you want to come here, you need to download the COVID Save app. We need to make sure, 100% sure, that anyone coming to the Northern Territory is free of the virus before they do arrive here. But at the moment, Danica, the borders to the Northern Territory are still shut. We are the envy of the nation here in the top end. Right now it's 30 degrees, there's not a cloud in the sky, and as you can see around me, people are out and about enjoying the fabulous Parat markets here in Darwin. It comes after restrictions were eased yesterday. From noon yesterday, pubs, restaurants and cafes were able to open. Unlike other states, there were no restrictions placed on the number of people who were allowed to go to those venues. It was a pretty big night in Darwin last night. Police say that most people were well behaved. Most venues did the right thing. There were a couple that they singled out for criticism. They were six tanks in the city, and Lola's Bagola, they said things got a little bit out of hand there. They've been warned and told that they need to do the right thing, keep those social distancing restrictions in place to make sure that we can continue to enjoy what they're calling the new normal. I would have to say, though, Danica, it's resembling the old normal quite a bit at the moment, except for the fact that we don't have any of those tourists. But as for what Michael Gunner had to say, I did catch up with him here at the Parat markets this morning. He was here with his new baby Hudson. He said that if people did want to come here to the Northern Territory, if they wanted to see those borders opened up, well, there was a simple thing that other Australians could do.
We're in their hands in many ways. We need Australians to do the right thing, download that COVID-19 Safe app. We want you here, but we want you here when you're clean and safe. So please do the right thing.
Now, the lifting of restrictions, Danica, not just good news for punters out there, but also for businesses. There are about 3,000 people here in the Northern Territory who have returned to work in the past 24 hours since those restrictions have been lifted. I spoke to some of the business owners here at the Parat markets this morning, as well as some local business owners, cafe owners in the area. Here's a bit of what they had to say.
Bring back all our business, and we get to see all our regular customers that come in, and it's really good.
It's one of the better places to be. We've got a pub to go to on Friday afternoons. It's good.
Really is a mood of some sort of celebration here in Darwin today, Danica, you'd have to say. People really do have a spring in their step after those restrictions were eased. The Northern Territory, of course, leading the nation when it comes to lifting those restrictions. We haven't had a new case of coronavirus here for several weeks, just 30 cases in total, and all but 2 of those have now recovered. So at the moment, it really does seem as though the Northern Territory is the best place to be.
Well, you keep saying that. Northern Territory, the envy of all of Australia, Matt. I can tell you're enjoying saying that as well. Thank you for the update, Matt, Bella and Julia. We'll touch base soon. Thank you.